Welcome back to the channel. It's Lizaviti. Thank you, thank you, thank you. So let's have some discussion while I sit here and wait for my ride. I want to talk about some differences that I've experienced here versus being in other African nations. As I mentioned before, I thought it was quite unusual that I had not heard the call to prayer here, whereas the place that I finally heard it was in the Medina. And there are a lot of mosques around here, but do understand that in a lot of areas they don't have mosques, and so that's why it's not as prevalent as others. So I thought that was different considering this place is 99% Sunni Muslims. Yes. Um, Look at that beautiful artwork over there. Isn't that gorgeous? That is so gorgeous. I love how they use the kilim designs in here, in the furniture, the pillows and stuff. You also can see that in Turkey. So that is another um, simul- excuse me, similarity as it pertains to other places that I've been. Now, do you see vendors on the street like you do on the west and east side, as well as the southern parts of Africa? And yes, you do. Now, let me say this. I saw a lot more vendors in the Medina, as well as like the central business district of Tunis, than I did in other places. Yeah, I did. And they were selling, of course, fruits, local pastries, local breads that they make that the Tunisians like to have. And one thing you probably do not know is that Tunisian music has been infused in a lot of different other genres of music. They are heavy into jazz here, which I undoubtedly love. They are heavy into reggae here, which I love. And a similarity with that is out of Morocco. Morocco is the same in terms of the jazz scene. The jazz scene here is huge, huge, huge. And yes, they used to have a Tunisian Jazz Festival. I think they tried to start it back up this past summer. I thought I saw some signs here about the jazz scene here. So, yeah, yeah. Now back to the vendors. The vendors also stand outside like the main stores where the owners have to pay taxes to the local government before they can basically turn over making a profit, just like any other business, how you have to pay taxes. The same thing, but the street vendors will set up shop right outside of your store, and there's nothing you can do about it. So yeah, there's that. There is that. Of course, I also experienced a lot of the vendors, of course, hawking and pushing their wares, which is synonymous everywhere. I mean, I've experienced that everywhere I've turned to. Everywhere I've turned, I've experienced that. Okay? In terms of the cuisine, I really have not had any food challenges here, but they have a very international cuisine for your palate. Yes, they have restaurants that cater to traditional Tunisian cuisine. However, the places that I went to, they had a gamut of things. And also, I will tell you, their take on these said international cuisines was different than what I was accustomed to. However, I kind of went out of my comfort zone and I tried it. Now, in terms of the people and being friendly, are you able to reach out to them if you're trying to find your place somewhere, et cetera, et cetera? I did not have any issues with that one because I knew someone here, and she, of course, helped me to navigate. Now, when I was alone, I still didn't have any issues. I used my Google Translator because they speak Tunisian Arabic as well as French here. My translator worked just fine. I had no issues. Boom. So, yeah, that was something. That was something. Their currency is called the Tunisian dinar. And let me get you a snippet as to what the dinar looks like. Okay. This is from the Central Bank of Tunisia. That's a 20. And here is the other side of that 20. Okay. Now, here is something that I must have forgotten about it or didn't recall. Because Tunisia is a closed society, everything must go through their central bank in terms of money flow. So even businesses that import stuff, all of that has to come through the government first before it gets to your shop. As well as, let's say you are a parent and your child studies at a university abroad and you need to send them money to pay for school fees, etc. Well, those school fees, yes, they have to be paid, but the parent in Tunisia has to go through the central bank to get approval to release the money to send it directly to the school. It is very reminiscent of other areas, places like where you have communism, etc. Do I have an issue with it? I don't have a problem with it. Just because we grew up indoctrinated into democracy does not mean that everywhere we turn to, if their governments are not similar to ours, that they're flawed or wrong. We have to get out of the being under the auspices that is the case, because a lot of time we take that pompousness with us and we are so wrong in how we look at things. So there's that. But I find it to be interesting. In terms of using ATM machines here, because of that, you may find yourself having a struggle with finding banks that would actually accept your card. And think of this. So they have MoneyGram here, they have Western Union. You can receive money, but Tunisians cannot send money out. Remember, because it goes through the central bank. So you could send money to someone here, but if you were in a pickle, let's say you were Tunisian and you were stuck in Italy, Turkey, Morocco, Ghana, wherever, if you needed someone to send you money out of here, they wouldn't. They'd have to send you a wire into a bank account, and remember, it has to go through the central bank. So, of course, knowing and getting versed in this, all kinds of things ran through my mind. I was like, wow, I could not believe it. It was so exhilarating. But at the same time, I was thinking about the challenges that a person would have to go through. One being a parent and trying to do things for your children and all of that. Look at this architecture. I'll do a video on this building here later. So something like that. Yeah, I also thought about comparing this to other nations in our Kebulon that are predominantly Islamic, and how liberal they are. They are very liberal and cosmopolitan. It actually reminds me of Lebanon. It reminds me so much of Lebanon. The Parisian and just the European influence here influences them greatly. But you can find a lot of unique things here, like all this furniture and stuff here that you see. This is all Tunisian made. Just as you know, when you go to other African nations and they make their own furnishings, etc. So, yeah, that is some insight for you. I'll come back later with another video. And I hope that you have enjoyed my take on things thus far. This video is out. Peace.